comfortable, but you know, I'm just whatever I need to work on is put in my face. So, you know, what more can I ask? All right, let me put this.
Me too.
You get it? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
the same way. Okay, hang on. I'll be back in a minute and 19 seconds.
Okay.
Uno momento, por favor, mi hermana hermosita. I'm getting chills. Uno momento, por favor, mi hermana hermosita. Man, I'm gonna be gagging. I just ate some hot peppers. What's happening, everybody? We got Sara. Always think up. Always think up. Always think up. Richardson is joining us today. It's been a long effing time.
It
And
has, Don.
we didn't, you know, as normal, we didn't have a conversation beforehand. Sara and I are very close. You know, we've connected many times. I have a tremendous amount of respect for her. She carries the codes of a lot of codes to me. I mean, like, you know, just a warrioress and the mama bear, the mother, you know, and yeah. So it's been a long time. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I love your guts, man. I love your fucking guts.
Good. I've kind of like slowed down on my F bombs. I don't care if anyone else does it. I'm like having this whole thing in my head about the F bombs. I don't even know why. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a word, for Christ's sake, just how you use it, right?
Well, I went through that. I went through that a couple different times.
Did you really?
Yeah, you know, and so that thing, you know, that's for me. That's like me breaking out of my programming that like I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like that makes me something different than what I really am if I say that or don't say that.
Yeah, you know, and every time I let them fly, people are like, "Oh, let them fly." But you know, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. What were we talking about before? Oh, we were talking about we. Oh, Shan McMillian Thompson fucking loves us, by the way. So that's her word. I'm just repeating her words. How do y'all like?
My followers cuss.
Did everybody take a look at Sara's background there? It's much better than mine, although mine's fantastic. And thank you, Scott Ware and his partner for sending us three backdrops and a stand. So
I love that backdrop, by the way. This one, me and Angela, we found this on an accident. We were trying to work Zoom. I wanted to call you. We didn't have enough time. I didn't know how to get Zoom into your Facebook, right? Because you can't Facebook people. You can't live with other people anymore.
I know, man. I know that.
So we tried Zoom and we were just sitting here talking to ourselves. So we're changing the background and all kinds of stuff.
Right on. We were talking about, I know we were talking about beforehand. We talked for like 35 seconds before the show started. Jeanette Wazalowski's from Pennsylvania. You're in Pennsylvania.
Yes. Yep, I'm by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, somebody else I was just, that lady that was on yesterday, phenomenal lady. Vanessa Cordino. You'd like her, man. She's the same energy as you are. She's She's from South Florida. She's Latina. She calls herself the Biz dot Bruja. Bruja means
I
witch in
yeah,
Latin. Yeah, she's very cool. But we were talking about like kind of like navigating this transition we call ascension. There's so much talk. And I have a talk show, so I mean, like I'm one to be talking, right?
I
But
know.
it's just amazing watching all this stuff that's being put out into the community. Uh, and it's just like, what the fuck, man? I mean, like, uh, I tried to write a post this morning. I'm gonna hand this back over to you, but I tried to write a post this morning, and I was like, okay, everything is a fucking program.
Yes,
Every single thing, anything that takes your focus off of yourself.
is a
I'm
program.
talking about everything. So imagine, as I was shown 8, 9 years ago, as I went through my dark nights and all that, everything was removed. So whatever you are, pledging your allegiance to, and I don't care what it is, and I don't care who it is.
Hmm.
I don't care if it's I got 6 kids. Okay, that's were the hardest ones to let go. But from those detachments came the the highest elevation. So I believe in Jesus. Take that away. I believe spaceships are going to land. Take that away. I believe QAnon is representing white hats, and it's not any propaganda trying to blow smoke up our ass, or the same narrative, or the people in charge of the narrative for the last thousands of years. Take that away. Take away Trump. Take away Biden. Take away Sanders. Take away Republicans, Democrats, all that stuff. Take it all away. Now what do
Well,
we got?
and when you take it all away, people think when you take all that away that there's nothing left to do. When
Yeah,
you take all that away, then the stuff that you need for you, that's when that stuff starts to come up. Like you have to take away all that stuff and make that be a process. That's energetic feng shui. So, you can move it on the inside, you can move it on the outside. And that's what we were talking about right before we came on, is that your lessons come right to you.
that's
People
right.
are running around searching, thinking that they're doing what their human needs to do, and that's not how it works.
That's right. Well, because what's happening for all of us, and we've all taken our whatever amounts of time we needed to. We're all about resistance. We're all about judgment. We're all about attachment. This is where we've come from. You don't just flip the switch and it goes away. But what I'm getting at is the adamancy that we have, and I'm including myself. In regard to our belief system. Show me a belief system that doesn't include separation.
Well, and the coolest thing about me is like in my belief system, I really don't know.
That's good.
And that's all, and people don't think that they can say that.
No, that's good. Morgan told me a long time ago. I'd tell her, I'd go through something. I'd say, man, I'm confused. She said, that's good. That's the
Yeah.
best place you can be.
I mean, my mind is always blown. I was just talking to a client of mine the other day, and I said, every day my mind is like blown from something else. And so
Yeah.
when you're trying to, pick like your focus, that's when you don't see the mind-blowing things going on around you. There's always mind-blowing things going on around. It's just, what are you focused on?
Yeah.
If I'm focused on Donald Trump and the coronavirus all day, I'm going to miss all the mind-blowing things because that's low ass vibes.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
and one man's prize is another man's pain. I mean, who knows? But I like what you said. I don't know. I don't know.
no.
To me, I don't know is closer to the 0 point than, hey, I'm on this end or that end of this subject or person or whatever.
Well, and I love 0 point. Because it's all about 0 point. It's all about neutrality. Like, who gives a fuck what anyone else is doing?
Yeah.
How can you care what anyone else is doing when the self-work is so much? How do you have time? I love your guts. And when's the last time we talked? Because we're doing self-work. We're working on our creations.
Yeah.
We're doing self-work. You go through some things. people always try to make plans with me. I'm like, oh, I don't make plans out that far in
You
advance.
can't make plans. You can't make them. You know, I mean,
Mm-mm.
we were just sitting there talking about like we know what we're going to do till April the 7th.
Right.
We kind of have a somewhat of a plan for May, but
And then even in those plans, you can't get stuck in those plans. What if
mm,
they completely change tomorrow
yeah, that's
to
true.
something more high vibrational? And that's the thing, is that like things are happening for people in their lives that are a more high vibrational
Yeah.
choice, but they're so fixated on the plans and on that part that they miss the rest of it.
Well, I don't know. Just things have changed. Things are changing so rapidly, especially this year. I mean, you could even say, especially this week or month.
Yeah.
But it and
This week hit me hard.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and I'm not talking about what everybody's talking about. I'm talking about there's just a lot of stuff out there. You can call it activations and solar
Yeah.
flares and human resonance. But to me, and I like this. To me, where this is leading us is we're being put into a soul solitary space, into a corner, painted into a corner where there's nothing there, not your relatives, not your friends, not your spouse, nothing,
You got to
just
sit
you,
down.
just you and the universe. Because I think what we're being driven to is if we have to have everything taken away in order to find ourselves, by God, that's what's going to happen. And what else, what more
Well,
could we ask for?
well, and Todd, I
Other
really
than
do
that,
believe that that's how it happens. In order for me to get where I am, I had to get completely stripped down of everything,
yeah,
of my money, my status, my family, all of those things had to mean absolutely nothing. Now, that doesn't mean that it means nothing to you,
yeah,
but like you have to be in a neutral state, in a 0 point where it's like, all right, if I don't have that, I have this.
yeah.
If I don't have that, I'm provided for. And that's the part that a lot of people don't trust, is in the unknown.
I don't think we have a choice.
Well, and just like I said, like, I don't know. You don't have a choice because
No,
nobody really knows.
that's it. It's the only thing we don't know is what we don't know. You know, and we do, and it's understandable. We do him and haw. What do I do next? Where do I go? Who do I love? What do I say? What do I not say? How do I act? And really, it's getting very obvious to me that the only direction that serves us is to step into that unknown. Even if you're not 100% confident, I would rather be, a little bit less confident in walking into something that I don't know versus staying where I'm at, where I already know what it is. And obviously it hasn't taken me to the promised land.
Well, and it's funny that you bring that up, because that's what's been going on, heavy with a lot of people. And that's like pretty much been my journey over and over and over again. Like every step I take is in the unknown.
Hmm.
Everything I do, every decision I make, my parents, like, I'll tell them too, and they're like, oh, like, why are you doing that? Like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know. It just feels right to me. So I was talking to a good friend of mine today about the stock market, like with this virus going on, you got the stock market, you got the import, you got the export, you got all this stuff happening, and people are freaking out.
Hmm.
I think all of that is like, it's teaching those people to learn how to trust their intuition in a
Or
way that they're going to understand it. They come on our videos and they don't understand a lot of the things that we talk about, but when it hits their avenue in their area, then that's when they're like, I felt like I should have done this or this and I didn't do it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, and I think it goes for everybody. I,
Yeah,
I'm sitting here this morning trying to put something together. It never came out. But it was along the lines of, if whatever it takes. If it takes the electrical grid going out worldwide, then fucking do it. If it
yeah.
takes if it takes something that looks horrific to the human perspective, then let's do it. Whatever it takes. to bring us all to an equal playing field, to bring us to ourselves. And this isn't a cliche I'm talking about. I'm like, you know what? What's the worst thing that can happen? I'll physically transition out of here. Who gives a fuck? You know? I mean, if that's the way the plan is, then so be it. But why the hell should I be sitting here in this existence, in this gift of life, full of anxiety, full of stress, worried, I'm dying while I'm living? That's not the point,
Well, and so that's what I was just looking at my memories, because I have memories now. Because last time we did a video together, my Facebook just got hacked.
I know.
But so I have memories, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Is it's in the feelings, it's underneath the surface of things. It's underneath the surface of the relationships, the banks, how you're parenting your kids, there's all of these things are coming up in so many different avenues of people's lives. And it's to get into the feeling of it. Like, how does that feel? How does it feel when you feel rejected from that person? How does it feel when you feel like you failed that project? How does it feel when you feel like you went off track for a little bit, or you did something that wasn't so good of a something? How does that all feel? Because that means something.
I think
it's how you feel inside that means something.
I think that's that feminine, that goddess, mother goddess energy that's been suppressed. It's been a big deal for me since last year, learning how to feel into everything. And I think the other thing is too, there's something about, you take your hits, so to speak. You take on the energies, you take on whatever, because it's all energy. You take your hits, you get up the next day, you put your boots on, and you go back. And I think we've got to give ourselves some credit for that, because every day we get up and we keep going, and that's
or sometimes you get up and you want to rest, and that's okay too, but celebrating yourself is the most important part, even if it's just like, I don't know, celebrate. That's what I tell all my clients. That's what I tell everybody. If you're on a journey to, not get high anymore, and you haven't been high in 3 days, celebrate yourself. If you're on a journey to, look for a job and you put in 3, 4, 5 applications, celebrate yourself. Like, I'm not out here ever saying that life is so easy. It's far from that. Like, getting through these programs is a beast. They're hard. They're hard. They run you by your feelings and by your emotions. And I know that that's a really hard place to be. And like, shout out to all the men lately, because that is a feminine aspect, and there is feminine and masculine in everybody. But shout out to all the men who've been like just getting in their feelings, and getting in your feelings doesn't have to be like mushy, right? Like, when you're just getting your feelings, you're like, I don't know, like, I just didn't like the way that was.
Without learning, you learn that part, and I'm glad you said that. And then you learn not to project and react. And I mean, it's just, it gets so convoluted and complicated to me. And I just want to keep going back to simplicity. And, you get up, like I get up today, and I don't do this every day. I'm not an angel, but, I got up and I said, just tell me what to do. How can I serve? How can I serve myself, my partner, Soulogy, the world, the unit? What can I do? And then I just started this 2-hour, conversation while I was piddling around with the universe, And I'm not saying I know anything more than I did then either. That's the thing.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of times you don't know anything more than you did then, but like, that's fired something up inside of you. The people who don't get that, they're not going inside with themselves because it's uncomfortable. There's a lot of things that a lot of people don't really like about themselves. And like, that's what's so cool now is that like, I don't like the wordy words either, but like, you do have a lot of people explaining to you what's going on energetically, kind of in a way that your human mind can understand it. Like, ancestral work. Like, nobody said that when I first started this journey. You know what I mean? It's just all of a sudden I'm talking to my Nana about sex and relationships and failed marriages and shit like that. Nobody called it anything like that. It was just like real uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so, now people are just trying to explain to people like, look, this is why you're going through this. Like the trauma passed down at a cellular level is really deep.
Yeah. And
it's real.
And it takes, I think, one of the big things for us to move the bar up in terms of oneness, which means less separation, is blame. If the shit that you're moving through or the shit that I'm moving through doesn't even have anything to do with this lifetime, then how the hell can we hold anybody accountable for anything we've ever done? You know what I
Right.
mean?
And I'm glad you talked about simplicity, and I'm glad you talked about blame, because, it's okay if your immediate reaction is to blame.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I don't want people to be like, shit, man, like I just blame my mom or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
It's okay if that's your initial response. Just once you sit with that, like, okay, I was blaming them and it's me and me on my planet. Right. Just communicating like, look, I was able to see that that was me. That was something that our ancestors didn't do. And like to some people, that's like what, taking the low road, or like, why do I always have to be the one, giving in or whatever. But like, this is what this time is all about. So then you share that with that person. You might not think that they received that, but they might turn around later down the road and blame somebody and come back and do exactly what you just taught them. You're like, that's a lesson for them.
Yeah. And for us.
And for us, like,
I guess,
I don't think
yeah.
anyone means to blame, you know what I
No,
mean? Like, I still catch myself doing it.
of course.
And then I have to catch myself and sit with it and then look crazy as hell whenever I message you back, like, shit, man.
Yeah. But, but yeah, to your point. And that's what I'm saying is that we've all been well, I hate to even say it this way, but we've all been subjected to the same thing. We've all had the same experience. We all
Yeah.
were asleep. We all were asleep, and there are parts of us that are still asleep. Call it the shadow or whatever you want. The comparison frequency, the competition frequency, I think goes right along with the codependent frequency, the blame, shame, and external, projection. It's all the
It's
same
all
thing.
energy, and we vibrationally learned how to hide it. I was talking like ancestral lineage the other day with a client, because I do the vibrational frequency alignment. And so the vibrational frequencies will take you into the shadows, right? And I don't think the shadow is not awake. I think the shadow is very much woke.
Yeah.
People are just afraid to dive in there. But like, what helped me is to think that everybody got this shit with them. This stuff that I'm going in, this stuff that I'm embarrassed about or humiliated about, every one of us carries this.
Of course.
In some form. Yeah. The blame, the shame, the guilt, and we tuck it away in our womb space. We're always talking about that, huh, Todd? We're always coming back to the womb, me and you.
Yeah.
But, the womb space is the big space, the womb space and the solar plexus, the sacral, that's where people tuck things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting too, because of course I talk about it all the time. We connect every night. We put our hands together and connect every night and see what happens. And it's just, I strictly cite it because as the individuals go, so go the collective. So like there's got to be a collective energy. There's a collective thing happening. And lately that's exactly where the activations or transformational energies has been in the sacral, and specifically the womb was said to us.
I know.
Like it was said in your womb, in her womb, but also in his.
Yeah, of course,
And I really got that. I heard that before, and I felt it a couple times, but the last night, or it was either last night or the night before, when I heard those words, I saw it, and then my body reacted, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So that's
well, and
got to be.
I asked a bunch of questions a week or so ago, and one of them was, what does it make you feel like when I tell you that men have a womb space?
Mm.
Because a lot of men like won't even put that part of them into consideration. So that shows you right there that they don't have that self-love.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then they're busy being tough, and then really in real life they're run down, and so the heart and the mind aren't matching up, and then that makes all kind of friction for that person.
Yeah.
And it's like getting in touch with your womb space, like learning that you do have a womb space because you came from your mom.
And what is the womb to you? Is that where we create stuff? Is that the sacral? Is
Absolutely.
that in the sacral?
Yeah, so your sacral chakra is your feelings. And yeah, you create from your feelings, and that's why, if your subconscious mind is, if you are like, oh, peace, love, and light, right? But you're not expressing your feelings the right way, and
Yeah.
like say, every day you can't stand your mom or something, right?
Yeah.
But you don't say that. You're like, oh, I'm living the dream, like, I'm so
Mm-hmm.
happy, you know what I mean? That underlying feeling that you're not expressing or addressing because you're running around in the programs doing what everybody thinks you're supposed to do, when that comes out like a fierce
Yeah.
thing, when it's like all you have to do is really like express the feeling. Like it doesn't matter what that other person thinks, if they talk to you again, if they don't talk to you again, if you hurt their feelings, if you don't hurt their feelings, like you need to get that up out of you.
Yeah.
Say it out loud, write it down on a piece of paper, because you do create from that space. So what's happening is the shame and the guilt and the pain that we're tucking into that sacral chakra.
Yeah.
That's why more people are creating more shame and guilt and pain
Yeah.
and creating the same patterns. When you clear that out, then you can start to attract like good feeling stuff.
Yeah.
We attract by the vibration that we vibrate. If one chakra is off, they're all off. And our womb has been off since the beginning of time.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point too, and I can look at my own situation, my own growth or whatever, my own journey. So last year, God, I'm like behind now. I think it was, where was I? What? Oh yeah. So it's 2 years ago. So a year and a half ago, I started to understand what people talked about with sitting with your feelings, right? And I talked about this before, but what you just said a minute ago, one of the things I learned and I practice, and I actually practiced this just in the last 10 days through a 3 or 4 day period where I secluded myself, you know, and that was having these conversations about how I feel with myself. You know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't even matter if I have, whether I do or don't have a conversation with anyone else, particularly anyone that I might have perceived or felt, uh, you know, uh, sent negative energy my way or whatever the case is. I don't even have to talk to these people. I don't. I have to talk to myself. And when I would tell myself, this is how I feel, and I would just sit with it like, this is how I feel, and it might take a while or it might not. Then something shifts in me. And I've learned enough, being married to an energy practitioner, that when my energy changed, back to your point, it goes away. Like that whole energy doesn't even show itself again.
No, it's done. It's a done pattern. It's completed. But see, people think, it's stupid to sit with it. People think I'm not doing anything really about this. Sitting with your feelings, that's the most important part. You
Hmm.
can't, you could talk about it for 5 years straight, but until you really sit with it in your feelings, nothing's going to shift.
Yeah.
And then like if you're dealing with another person, you can sit with it in you until it shifts, but you can't even expect that other person to shift automatically there with you, because they need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. But if we've cleared, um, then that person probably won't be around until one or the
They're ready,
yeah,
right?
until we're back, and that's okay too. There's been a lot of people talking about and experiencing, and it's a reality. We've all experienced since we quote unquote woke up and started following this guidance. we've lost family, we've lost friends, you know, and it's become more acceptable now because I think there's enough people that can relate to it and like, oh, I'm not the only one, you know. But that was a tough gig. But
Well, I mean, yeah, and you know, I was going through that before any of this was ever even mainstream. I was losing everybody. I lost everybody.
yeah,
You know, like people that have known, and it's funny because like I have some people that are angry about that, and they'll call me weird because I'm different than who I was before I became aware of
hmm
myself and that I'm the creator of my experience, right? And they're like, "You're so weird now." No, I'm intentional.
yeah,
So if it's like an intentionally bad conversation, I just really don't even want to have it.
yeah,
You know, I intentionally try to shift the vibration with my words because your words evoke your thought. You know, the craziness that's going on the planet is like just because people don't speak it out loud, they don't understand that their thoughts are always creating. And
true.
so, you know, even if somebody doesn't post about this coronavirus, but in their mind, they're like, shit, man, like my kids, my family,
hmm
my grandma, like
hmm
all, you're creating that and you're bringing that into your experience. And so, like, 9 times out of 10, I bet you there's some people in your experience that are going to end up with it.
Well, see, and then I look at the other end of it too. Like, I don't believe or disbelieve anything. I respect everybody's reality. But something like you're describing looks to be very clear cut, right? You know, and what you're saying is true because it all comes from our thoughts. That's quantum. That's quantum mechanics. That's it.
Yeah.
But what's the other end? QAnon, uh, uh, white hats in the government, spaceship's going to land. This narrative that
Right.
if you over engage and over identify and go too far over, which anything outside the parameters of the 0 point boundary is too far, then you're actually feeding, or I'll say me, then I'm actually feeding this
The
separation.
fear.
That's separation. It's
Well,
separation.
and I
It's
was
me
just having
saying,
a conversation right before I got on here about this very same thing. And, you know, like, just like you, Todd, I know about this all the way to this. And I stay at the 0 point about it because, like, I don't want to get up here and spread fear. I want to say, like, I believe in viruses. I believe that the government creates viruses. You know what I mean? But I believe that colloidal silver works.
mm-hmm,
So, you know, get some, put some in you, put some in your kids, you know, do a little extra precaution, just like flu season and all of that stuff. But like, if you fall into like the death rate and all, then that's what you're going to create in your environment.
well, here's the thing. You can find you can substantiate whatever narrative you want to,
Yes,
especially with the internet age. You can substantiate, rationalize, and prove anything you
everything.
want to. But the fact is, who the fuck are you trying to prove it to? You're
Yeah,
not posting this point of view and this statistics. You're not posting that to try to convince other people.
no.
You're trying to convince yourself, you know,
Well, and
and
that's the thing. I only share the things that I do in my life. So, you
yeah,
know, I use colloidal silver with me and my baby. We woke up a couple of days ago with some scratchy throats and some watery eyes. We took that shit and now we're golden.
and you know what? And that's all there is to it because I always go back to the placebo effect, you know. I mean, the energy of the placebo effect. You know, I told you this story before. I ate McDonald's for 2 years when I lived on the street, and I alchemized the food every time I sat down with it. You know, and I guess what I'm saying is that yeah, our truth is our truth. Period.
Yes.
And and
Yes.
and it's the
You can't
energy.
budge someone on their truth. You know,
Yeah.
if you have a higher vibration, I think of everything as like a planes, right? So it's not that like any truth is wrong. It's just like different planes to that truth, just like we're constantly attracting. So, like, you know, say, you know, okay, I want an airplane, but my vibes are low. I'm going to get a Tonka truck. You know what I mean? And then,
Mm,
like, I want an airplane, but now my vibes are getting higher. Now I attract a bicycle. I wanted, you know what I mean? Like you're so just like that, I think you have planes of this reality. It's not that anyone's reality isn't right. You know, like there
Yeah, of
was a long
course.
time that I was a conspiracy theorist, but that didn't feel good inside of me.
Yeah,
I was nervous as hell all the time.
yeah, and yeah, and everything, everything, things get us to a certain point. They no longer serve us, and you move on. What the one of the things that's been, let's flip it. So one of the things that's been coming to the forefront more and more and more are these children, right?
Yeah.
I've run across two or three on my own, including my own grandson who telepathed with me at 3 months old. Uh, Other people talking about the children speaking to their mother and or father from the womb before they even come out. Them the kids saying things, or even if there's none of that, just the frequency of these kids alone. And
Is
this
different.
because of your daughter. Well, just being around them.
Well,
Uh,
it's very different. The way that we're raising kids now is very different than anything of the normal programming. And there's a lot of us that are still stuck in normal programming because those are the things that come up. But these kids are way different. The
yeah.
the, the things that they're telling you, the way that they articulate things and feel things and speak up for themselves, a lot of us don't know what the hell to do.
What's it like for you? Your daughter's what now? 5?
5, it's mind blowing.
Yeah. Like if you look at your, let's just say the last 3 years, 4 years, because she's 5. How much of your expansion has you think, just generally come from coexisting with her, cohabitating?
All of all of it. And it's crazy because I did a lot of work before I even had her. Like I've been in this, and then having her come through that womb space, and having me look at my womb space, and having me see what was off in me. I wasn't like very cuddly, and like this little thing like changed all of that for me. And not only that, but she's a Pisces, so I was never really big on like feelings, and she's all about her feelings 24 hours a day, right? And so that
Is that a Pisces trait? I'm just
uh,
curious. Is it?
absolutely.
Is it? When's her birthday?
February 24th.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, she teaches me to balance it out. I'm a Libra, and so she teaches me how to balance myself out because she's such a feeler. So
Hmm.
like if I come in the house and I'm worked up, man, she spikes right through the roof.
Right.
If I don't get my shit together inside of me, she feels it immediately, and like you don't get time.
Does she mirror it? Does
Oh, absolutely, to a T.
Yeah, somebody, we had a couple on yesterday morning, and they were saying that. They were saying that when they start to have static, that the kids start screaming. Just,
That's how she is. She doesn't like a lot of noise. She's not really like a TV watcher. I mean, they're different.
yeah.
She doesn't eat meat. Very rarely will she eat meat. I mean, like I'm constantly taking her to the doctors, like she doesn't eat enough. They're like,
Really?
she's good. Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't really like to eat. She would rather have like raw fruits and vegetables and smoothies and than like regular food. I mean, it's completely different. It's completely different, and they're all about their feelings. And so the old school way is like you tell your kids how they're going to feel or react.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
without saying a word.
Yeah, you ain't telling these kids not to feel. They're in their feelings,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they are telling you.
What are you picking up from your clients over because we did a show probably about a year ago, the last time. Uh,
Yeah.
I remember now because I remember that's when you were hacked, and I remember where I was, which is around this time of year. But anyway, so you're talking about a pretty impactful 12, 13 months. I mean,
Yeah.
2020's just been off the hook. In
Yeah.
2019 was, a hell of a ride. But I mean, 2020 is like, 1 month is a year. 1 week is now becoming a year. I mean,
1 hour, 17 days.
yeah, yeah. I mean, have you noticed anything with your clients? I mean, as far as like a more of a collective impression?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm meeting a lot more people that are willing to do the work, even though it seems weird. Men and women. I'm getting a lot more men. But then at the same time, I'm getting a lot more women too, who are like wanting to understand instead of blame.
Yeah.
There's a lot of womb space going on out here. There's a lot of womb stuff going on. My work gets people into their feelings. So whether I work on you with body work on you with my vibrations, work on you in a conversation, I'm always getting people into their feelings. And I'm noticing it's getting easier for people.
Hmm. And so what does that look like? The womb, is that pretty much getting in touch with your feelings? I mean,
Yeah, it's feeling your feelings, and then front, like you said, you get that place and you get that shift, and then you start creating. And so like when you're tucking those feelings and you're not feeling those feelings, then your creativity feels blocked.
yeah.
And like, so if you would come to my house and see how I'm creating a program, I got this go, I'm like multi creating all over the place, but I couldn't do that before I went in and felt my feelings.
Mm,
I felt like stagnant in that creation space because and so some people that don't even know anything about spirituality and are just tapped into their feelings, they're creators.
yeah.
And they're like, I don't even know about spirituality. I just make belugas or whatever the heck they're doing.
So like writer's block or create some type of creative block that's going to be tied to uh the sacral, to the womb.
Yeah. And then writer's block is also tied to the root, and the foundation of things. A lot of people think, oh, well, I shouldn't write because what's that really doing for my foundation? There's so many different things, but everything creativity, pleasure, all of that comes from that place. So like if you're in a place where you think that you don't deserve pleasure until you reach this certain goal,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there that think that. And it's like, you deserve pleasure all the time.
So it's the whole retirement system, delayed gratification. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a model. I mean, it's a template.
Yeah. And, we vibrationally learned that. Like nobody ever said you don't deserve pleasure until you reach this certain goal. But like that's instilled in all of us.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you have pleasure as you're going through your shadows? Why can't you?
Are you seeing exactly? Uh, are you seeing people? There seem to be have been a lot of emphasis on the root chakra last year. I mean, obviously there's multiple things happening, but that seemed to be a big deal. The security, the lack, uh, money. I mean, the fear of, that all that stuff that goes with the root chakra. Are you still seeing that, or do you think we've made any headway on that?
I don't think it's ever going to be like this thing that we're like done with. I think that as you travel through this energetic body, different things are going to like, so once you feel like you're financially secure, if that was something that was rooted into your deep programming, into your root, right? Then things are going to come around that challenge you in specific ways to say, how does your mind really think about financial security? Do you really feel as secure as you thought with this or whatever, right? And so then it's just these tests of these levels in that chakra. So, I think that there was a lot of root chakra stuff last year, but there was a lot of everything last year. There was a lot of people like tuning into their heart's desires, tuning into their connection with the creator of whatever they call that, you know, tuning into their feelings. I think a lot of people last year started really feeling
Yeah.
and saying it. You know, people that I noticed, a lot of people last year that were really tough people, you know, even my dad, that started just to, you know, different things that would fall on our lap as a family. You know, I lost my baby, and he's like telling me all about what it felt like as a man to lose babies.
Wow.
My dad isn't even that type of person, you know, and he's like spilling his guts out to me about how hard it was as a man and how he didn't know what to do. So he just went to work.
Wow. That's pretty deep.
You know, and yeah, and so, you know, I think that we've been working on all of these things all year long. Like a lot of people have been working in the sex space, a lot of people have been working in the solar plexus, in the third eye, flexing their throats, you know. So we go through this constantly. It's never like a state of arrive, like, oh, I passed the root chakra, now I'm going to go to the sacral.
Yeah. Right.
You're always flipping through, you know.
That's right. Because the shadow's still there and will always be there.
It'll always be there. You just have to learn how to love that bitch.
How do you do that?
You know, just like, you know, I don't know. Like I approached life as like, you know, somebody's like, oh, that's not right. Yeah, I fuck up. I mean, I'm not out here trying to reach this peak of perfection that a lot of people are trying. Like, I don't even know what they think that is. Like, but I was built that way. Like credentials, I don't give a fuck about credentials. You know, all these things, you know, and I didn't fit in the old structure. And I get it that I'm some sort of like leader in this new structure, because against my family and everybody's wishes, and this is who I am.
Yeah.
A sovereign being. Like, I don't really care. I don't care if I have friends. I don't care if I have a boyfriend. I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you follow me or unfollow me or cuss me. I mean, certain things will come to me to hurt my feelings, and that's my lesson.
Yeah. That's your red flag. That's your marker. That's your
Yeah. I was cooler than a cucumber all through retrograde. All this shit was happening. My computer. I was like, screw it, right? And then all of a sudden yesterday, that full moon, man, it blasted my ass. I was sitting right in my kitchen. I didn't even have to move. I was all in my feelings, cried my head off. But I needed to feel that, though. You know, my human was like, dang, like I didn't want to feel that. But then once I felt that all and took a bath with it and took a walk with it, Truth's cat jumped out the window. She's crying to me about the cat. Whatever. What can you do?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like was told to me the other day, we get all this stuff, right? And then, you know, then you go diving into the human, whether you want to or not. You know what I mean? Laughing, crying, whatever the case is. And that, you know, was explained to me, is how we embody it. You know, that's how
well, and my lesson here has been to learn how to be human.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been this spiritual being that spends more time in this space. Like, physical earth used to rock my world, you know, just to hear how people talk to one another, to see how people treat one another, to see how the greed and the corruption and you know, all that. So it's been a real big challenge for me just to be a human, to have fun, to have human desires, to follow them, to accept that stuff, you know. I don't know. And then I made that my mission for the past 5 years. It's like, you have to have fun. You have to be a human. You have to. And it's been a blast.
I agree with you. I agree with you. The human is the hero. But I got to ask you a question.
Okay.
I saw this recipe. I absolutely love beetroot.
I love beets. Me too.
I love the leaves. I love
Me
it
too.
all. So
Me too.
I saw this thing and I thought, how the hell do you do that? Because I didn't have time to read it. I don't feel bad about bringing this up because I want to know. And beets are very good for everybody. But they were roasted. Was that right? Yeah, you had a recipe. Was it you?
Yeah, it was the honey roasted.
So you roast them.
Yes.
Aren't
You
they?
mix them with the honey and the thyme, and I think there was one other thing that you put with them, and you roast them in the oven.
And they're not hard.
Well, I didn't make them yet, but I saw
Oh,
that
you didn't make them?
recipe and I was like, oh my God, I need that in my
Man,
life.
I dumped them in a stock pot and put hot peppers and sweet peppers, but I made it really like sweet, and because they're so sweet, sweet and spicy. Oh, I put kale, which I'm not real big
Uh-huh.
on kale because of the flavor, but I made it really hot. Oh my God, that shit was good.
Yeah,
I
I make my kale pretty hot too.
Yeah, yeah, I like that sweet and hot. But
Yeah.
I saw that and thought, man, I got to try that.
Yeah, I think that's all you do is just cut them up and put them in the oven.
Yeah, right on. And so,
Delicious.
how's the baby? How's she
She's
doing?
amazing. She's amazing, and we've been going through a lot, and she's just really amazing. I mean, one of the biggest things I can tell anybody is just talk to your kids about their feelings.
Yeah, and they're
It
so
doesn't mean you have to validate all of them. It doesn't mean that you baby them about all of them. Like,
yeah,
most of her feelings, I'm like, that's silly.
yeah. They're
What do you?
so they're so resilient too. I mean, it's like because I went through a couple of marriages, with kids involved, you know, and they're always saying that we're this about the kids. The kids are so resilient, like they bounce but I guess that makes sense because we're more emotionally invested, but it's interesting. I learned a lot from my kids once I woke up and tried to get my shit together.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right now I'm co-parenting with somebody who doesn't really agree with the way that I am and the way that I live. And so sometimes that could be a really big difficulty. But that mama earth comes out of me and I'm like, I don't really give a shit what you think about what I'm doing over here. You better either learn
just
about it or get lost.
just twinkle your nose. You've got those powers, like Samantha.
It's funny because I was just talking about this today. Like, this is one thing that I just can't change.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
that's true. That's
I've
true.
been putting so much work into it, 5 years of like deep, deep, deep work with this situation. And it doesn't even seem like we moved a millimeter.
Yeah. No, I just remembered that part of your story. So now it makes sense. Because that wasn't going on until what? The last year, probably.
Yeah. Well, the whole entire way through, it's been really just off. And, this is the offness that I talk about in the sex
Mm.
space. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
I was dating a guy long distance. He wasn't around. Some bad shit happened. I went out, made a baby, right? And then as soon as I found out about the baby, I'm like, shit, now you have to tell everybody all your darkness, like you're a little hoe bag, you know what I mean? And so, in that process and in that, like, I hurt people's feelings. Some people didn't talk for a while. Some people came back and, talked. And it's just like, I don't know. You just have to keep it real the whole way through. I
Yeah.
have things I bend about. I have things I don't bend about.
Yeah. Right
Some,
on.
maybe it is my trauma. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're doing kids a lot different these days, and so I do her a lot different.
Are you going to homeschool her?
I'm probably going to end up having to, I mean, I'm not sure, but a lot of this stuff with this virus, now they're coming back at people like me who don't vaccinate.
Yeah. I don't blame you at all. But
I don't really want her to be in the education system anyway. So I've been having meetings lately about how to go about homeschooling.
well, there's I don't know if you've ever seen anything by Ethan Fox. You ever seen him?
No.
Ethan Fox, he's up in I believe Michigan. I can't remember where he's at. Anyway, he's been on the show like 3 times, and
Okay.
he's been in this game for quite some time, like quite a few years, and he's done it. I mean, but one of the things he does is they have, I believe, a weekly or bi-monthly online gathering for children, and it sounds amazing. And then the other thing he has is he's actually working on an online, curriculum, uh, a conscious curriculum for those kids that are going to be homeschooled.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to look him up
Look
because
him up. I can't remember the name of his websites. Now his partner as in business partner, uh, Michelle Mikola Sheldon is going to be on today. But they have a. If you go to Ethan Fox,
I'll find it.
yeah, go to Ethan Fox ETA two N's. Uh, he's got some really powerful stuff that's not just developing, but it's been in development. There's a lot of people involved. I thought it was really cool because I know quite a few people that are homeschooling, and this is like, and because I know that the accreditations are coming, he was telling me about it. These alternate means, so that would be something. I think the kids are going to be the game changer. So
The kids are going to be the game changer, and you can't. Your kids don't really fit into school when you raise them like this.
no, no.
They don't fit in. I mean, just today I woke up True for school and she's like, Mom, can you homeschool me for real? Now she loves her place that she goes. She loves her teachers. She loves seeing the kids, but we do a lot here and she feels like she misses out whenever she goes there sometimes.
Yeah, no.
Because the
Yeah,
stuff we do is different stuff.
yeah. They're not gonna. They won't put up with it. No, they won't. It won't happen. And there's too
No.
many of them.
Yeah. Well, and the school, my one friend, she calls it the deducation system because like
Education.
it
Yeah.
keeps you dead.
Yeah. How to create zombies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how to tune you away from your feelings into what we say
Shit.
you should do, and all that stuff. And it's funny because I said I was going to homeschool and then she wanted to go to school, so I sent her to school. I was devastated, and now they're coming at me pretty hard about these vaccinations and not
Are they really?
vaccinating. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They can't force it, can they? I know in some places they've tried, but
No, we can still use the form
yeah,
here in Pennsylvania, but they're trying to take it out.
yeah. I have a friend.
Um,
I have a friend in. She raised her kids and grandkid in Hawaii, and this is going back. I mean, her grandkid's probably 19 or 20. So what she did, she never participated, and they would call her in and they'd say, your kids are the only kids that don't have a vaccines, and she'd say, okay, she
Well,
never,
that is how you have to play it. I mean, that's even how I play it too.
yeah,
Sarah, you need to come and get these. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'll see you in a little bit, But, a lot of people like they'll flag your kids. And, it's funny to me because I'm like, didn't you get your kid vaccinated so they would be safe? Like, I don't even understand what you're nervous for.
yeah, exactly.
But then you got the people saying, well, the unvaccinated kids, hurt the kids with compromised immune systems. You just, it's a battle that you can't win, and so that's why I just kind of stay underground with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
my school knows, and the people that hear about it, they call me immediately. There was a big thing that they were gonna say that we couldn't use that form just a couple months ago. But I keep checking on it and it never went through. They never passed it.
Wow. That's going to be one of many, many issues that come up socially, no doubt. Well,
oh yeah.
You got anything coming up? Anything you want to announce or anything you want to put out there?
No, I'm just creating, having fun with my baby, going through my stuff. I had all these big plans I thought I was going to do, and I just ended up relaxing.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat. I just give it up. I give it up. And every time
I went really hard for like 4 years. I just needed to take a little break.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. That's as important as anything, is the rest, because the body's the last one to come online now. I mean, it's we've actually not got to. I mean, somebody said it the other day on the show. They're like, this body that we're in right now would not be able to live on this earth in 5 years. It's changing. Everything's changing. So the body's the last to come online, and the rest thing is absolutely the essential. You know,
That's one thing I would never let myself do, Todd. You know, I was raised to be a workaholic. I was
yeah,
raised to work from the morning to the night, get up and do stuff, make sure everything's done, go, 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 go. And for the last like 3 years, that's really been my lesson, is just to like really relax. And like, I used to take naps and wake up in a panic, like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, like I just missed all kind of stuff. But now that's how I can tell like the growth in myself. You know, I'll have a day where I have all these plans and I'm like, you know what? My body feels like it just needs to chill. And so I'll cancel everything and I won't feel bad.
yeah, yeah. That's right. I'm in the same boat, man.
You have to, Todd. You have
Yeah,
to take care of yourself. I mean,
I'm in the same boat.
you have to have energy.
Yeah,
This work that you do on here is energy work.
I know it is. Believe me. I
It's
mean, I
not
was like,
that you're not.
yeah, yeah, believe me. I just absolutely, I mean, like right now I'm in a thick run because of the circumstances. You know, when we have a chance to broadcast, we do. But I just told Morgan, you know, I'm like, you know, I can't, you know, it's like you do a show, you lay down. You do a show, you lay down. By the time 3 or 4 over, it took, if it wasn't Morgan, I wouldn't even be able to sit with anybody. You know what I mean?
I know, but you know, and that's what I love about what I've created, like in my right now, like I have my vibrational alignment coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why like people are like, you don't really do that many videos anymore, you know, because I'm focused on the people that want to focus on themselves.
Yeah.
And when we get together and when we do that work together, that's big work. I got to go lay down. I got to go to the, you know, rest up and relax myself. And then I come back and I come back to somebody else.
It's a mutual, yeah. It's a mutual
people
thing.
Don't realize it. They think that they, you know, see us on here and we're happy and we're bringing out the best in people, and they don't realize, like, you know, you need that downtime.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
I've been shutting off my phone in the night times, like, no, I don't want to, you know, it's not going to be anything that can't wait until tomorrow. And if it can't, then I missed it.
That's
can't.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right. That's good. That's very good. I'm in this pretty much the same way, you know.
It's amazing. You know, I make these rules for myself. I get up, I listen to my vibrations, I have my cup of coffee, I try to walk my feet out on the earth, and then I'll turn my phone on and deal with whatever.
Yeah.
You know, because people are just projecting.
Yeah, my messages are so like I can't even, like, I don't even go there. I mean, I just like I got a list here of about 3 names I started yesterday of people that had either asked to be on the show or whatever. Morgan handles that, you know, but
I know, I love Morgan. She was laughing at me because we do our dates backwards, you know, like she'll send it in with, like, you know, she does her dates different than us. We crack up all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you take care. It's good seeing you. We might get up that direction. You never know.
Well, if you guys ever come this way, gosh, let me know. That's so exciting.
It's possible. We're thinking about going north from here on this, but you know, I mean, that's the plan, you know, and then we wouldn't.
Well, the cool thing about me is I'm not a planner. And so normally I'm always right there. Like if you're like, yo, Sarah, I'm 45 minutes out of the city, I'll be like, oh my gosh.
Oh, we'd give you more notice than that. But I would like to go up that way. Blue Ridge Mountains, Smokies, you know, Pennsylvania's beautiful. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful stuff up there. And
Pennsylvania really is beautiful.
Oh, I know it is. Yeah, absolutely. But and I obviously this is the time of year to go because I wouldn't want to go when it's cold. You know.
Right. Well, and that's what I was just getting ready to say. Like, you're getting ready to come up in a good time. You know, these next 3-4 months are going to be beautiful.
Yeah. True.
But summer doesn't stay around too long, so don't wait too long. we get about 4 good months and then it's freezing.
How far are you from Hershey?
I think I'm like maybe 4 hours from Hershey.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's a big state, but
it's a huge state.
Yeah. All right. Well, you take care.
Okay, you too. I love you guys.
Love you. Best to you and your baby girl. And
You
I'll
know
see
it. You and Morgan too.
Right. You take care. Thank you so much. Peace
Bye. One
out.
love.
Peace out.